It's time for the Howie Carr Show. Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. You may recall last spring we talked a lot about a case down on Cape Cod, and it involved the son of the colonel in the Massachusetts State Police, Reid Mason. He's the one who imposed all of the firings on state troopers who refused to get the vaccine per order of then Governor Charlie Parker. And the state police have been racked by all kinds of scandals over the last few years, and this was yet another maybe a scandal involving the state police. Colonel Mason's son, Reid Mason, he was a firefighter in Truro. He was found hanging out of his SUV or truck in February in downtown Hyannis, a very cold night, and but he was he was feeling no pain. Let's put it that way. And the cops responded, and they found him. They found him halfway out of the car. And when they examined the vehicle, it had 5 guns in it, 5 firearms, and one of them was unregistered. And they couldn't find out. I don't know where they don't know where it came from. No one knows where it came from. He was taken into custody. A family member. They don't know if it was Colonel Mason or not. They refused to tell us. They came and picked him up, and this was not listed on the Barnstable police log, unlike most other incidents. Then they went and they got the other firearms from his house. He lived with his father, the colonel, and his mother, I guess, or stepmother. I forget which one it was. And so there was no mention of that visit to the colonel's house on the police log, and we didn't. We found out about it. And we made a noise, and finally he was charged with firearms violations 3 months after the incident had occurred, and we ran with it. Turtle Boy ran with it. I ran with it, and Rob Bastille from Hyannis News, which is the only thing to read, HyannisNews.com. They get a lot more news out of Hyannis News than you do out of the Cape Cod Times, which may be damning with faint praise, but it's true. I mean, the Cape Cod Times, there's nothing left. But anyway, so we forgot about the case because it was pretty obvious to anyone who's been in Massachusetts or America for more than a month what was going to happen. The case was going to get broomed. So we just didn't pay attention to it. But just today, Rob Bastille from the Hyannis News gave us the update. Again, not unexpected, but we want to keep you in the loop. Rob Bastille from the Hyannis News, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you, Howie. How are you doing today?
Very good. Tell us all what we all knew was going to happen, but we hadn't bothered to check out. What happened?
Well, it got broomed. So basically, but that's not the real story here. I mean, everybody that knows that it got continued without a finding, and
CWOF.
It's continuing without a finding, and he's quote unquote on probation for a year. He's supposed to see, he's got to get an evaluation for substance abuse, that sort of thing. But if he does everything right, including if he pays that $50 witness victim fee, which is stringent
killer,
stringent measures there. If he gets that paid by September 1st, he's possibly in the clear. But people are missing the point. If that is the correct judgment in this situation, they're missing the point, because what they're missing is, I hope Reid Mason, if you're listening, I hope he played a lottery ticket after his hearing back in September 15th of 2022, just a few months ago, because he's the luckiest man, perhaps in the history of Hyannis, to have ever brought his gun collection to downtown Hyannis. So drunk and passed out in the middle of a parking lot in the middle of downtown Hyannis, with ammunition 5 guns, one of them a rifle, ammunition, and not one of those guns, Howie, this is how lucky he is, not one of those guns were loaded. Because if you're to believe the report, the police report, if one of those guns was loaded, he'd be looking at a felony. Yeah,
there was something loaded in that truck, though, wasn't there? According to the police. Let me read. Yeah. You got it in your report today. You can get it at HyannisNews.com. I tweeted it out earlier. This is from one of the cops, one of the guys he used to work with, by the way, in the Hyannis Hackorama when he was a teenager. As I made contact with Mason, this is the kid, the colonel's son, he seemed extremely disoriented. Mason stated he does not need any medical attention and that he is just sleeping in his vehicle. While speaking with Mason, I was overwhelmed by a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage emanating from his person. His eyes were red and glassy and had a difficult time answering questions. Yeah.
It's an embarrassment. This whole thing's a huge embarrassment. I'm embarrassed for the good state troopers and cops that I do know. But I'm also, you know what? I'm going to come right out and say it. I'm embarrassed for the local drinking community. Down here on the Cape, anybody who drinks and is good at it knows not to bring your gun collection to town unloaded and leave them on the front seat of your car while you're hanging outside your car.
Well, wasn't one of them a mystery gun too? They couldn't find out.
Yeah,
who...
one of them's like a ghost gun, and of course with all the powers of the Massachusetts State Police and Boston Police combined, they couldn't find out who it belongs to. And
we never found out who picked him up either, did we? Who drove him home from the police station?
Right. I mean, they live across town. I mean, the colonel, the lead cop of Massachusetts, lives in the town of Barnstable, not far. You know. And did you ever find out if he used his police cruiser to go down there? Because that would, be recorded.
I made the traditional inquiry to headquarters. And I got the traditional response, which was when the phone didn't ring, I knew it was them getting back to me. So, that's it was Police Omerta clicking in. That's all. Did we ever find what happened to his job? He was a firefighter in Truro. What happened to that job? Do we know?
I don't know, but this is what's another side of the story. This happened back in September. Why didn't anybody catch wind of the fact that there was some kind of judgment made by this O'Malley, the Honorable O'Malley, Judge O'Malley, made a judgment. Why are we just learning about this now? I got one of these confidential informant tips that there was a judgment, and then I had to dig around and I had to find some paperwork, and then I had to confirm it, and I thought I was going to get stonewalled, and why is this all coming out just right now? And so this confidential informant told me that he believes that he was let go. He was that the Truro Fire Department washed their hands of him. Now that's not. I haven't been able to confirm that, and I don't know if anybody will be able to confirm that. But
once he gets the year under his belt, so to speak, his record's clean, and he can go back.
He's the next chief of police someplace. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, yeah, this is the way Massachusetts works, and I'm tired of it. And it's such an embarrassment. It really is. I thought Colonel Mason was going to go in there and change things for the better. I had high hopes, but no. But the thing is, how lucky is Reid Mason? Reid, I hope you played a lottery ticket. Not one of your guns when you were hanging outside your car in the middle of downtown Hyannis was loaded. Even though you had ammunition in the car, not one of them was loaded. How lucky are you, man? I hope you played a lot.
Good things happen to good people, Rob Bastille, and you do a great job. And I love reading your stuff. Tell people where they can read your stuff. Rob he's like an old style newspaper guy, like Ouija or like Stanley Foreman that I used to work with at the Herald. He has the scanners on in his car, and he just cruises the Cape, and amazing pictures and a video too. So where do people go if they want to get your stuff?
It's HyannisNews.com, and you know what? The thing is, I'm pro-police. I just broke a story last week. It was on 3 of the TV news programs, where the state police, I love our state troopers, the ones that do things right. I love these guys. They are heroes. They had a pursuit. It lasted like 3 hours. They engaged, disengaged and engaged. And they ended up catching this guy after using spike strips. It was great. I was right there after the car rolled over. These troopers did everything right. They protected the public. They didn't let him get off the highway. They blocked the exits so the guy couldn't get off the highway and endanger the public. And these guys do great work. I mean,
all right, Rob, we gotta move on here, but we appreciate you being with us, and good job breaking the story that the rest of us in the media dropped the ball on once we made our point with the double standard. But now we have more evidence of the double standard. Thank you, Rob Bastille from the Hyannis News. So you can read his stuff or see his stuff, his videos and his still photos at HyannisNews.com.